What's good, guys? It's Izzy, and I'm back again to talk about the Premier League action that is going to happen this weekend. But as always, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy this content, make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button to let YouTube and everybody else know that you are enjoying this content. But on to the football now. We are going to start at Wolves as they take on Tottenham Hotspur, the surprise package of most of this season. Now, Tottenham come off of a 1-4 loss at home against Chelsea, but a game that shouldn't have dampened the spirits too much because they played very well for the vast majority of that game. And even after they went down to 9 men, they were still surprisingly able to attract a lot of good press because they kept on attacking Chelsea, and they did very well, other than the fact that they left themselves very open and rather carelessly, in my opinion, let themselves go, and the scoreline was more bloated than it was actually a very good performance by Chelsea. However, the spirit that is within the Tottenham Hotspur camp is undeniable. This team is playing well. Their manager seems to be having a very good rapport with the players, and I think that they can at least keep on fighting for a top 4 spot. Now, they are going to suffer from some injuries. Maddison is a doubt for this game. He's probably going to be a lot more serious than it was first reported, but Tottenham should have the capability to still go toe-to-toe against Wolves. Now, Wolves, on the other hand, are a team that have been playing very well, but unfortunately have been on the back end of some poor decisions by VAR. Now, the independent panel that had talked about the Arsenal game and had reviewed, I think, the Liverpool game, went on to say that Wolves should not have conceded that last-minute penalty against Sheffield United. However, Sheffield United do not care how they got the points on the board. They just got them. So Wolves are going to have a chip on their shoulder, and I think that this game is going to be one of those games that Wolves will play very well. They have tended to do that against the top sides, and I don't see any reason as to why they will stop. So my prediction for this game is going to be a surprising 2-1 victory for Wolves. I just think that Tottenham, having gotten that reality check from their very first loss, and with Maddison possibly a doubt for this game, they are going to find it hard against a Wolves side that, whenever they have their tails up, are extremely good, and they should be able to cause Tottenham numerous problems in this game. So my prediction for this game is going to be a 2-1 victory to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Next up, we have Manchester United hosting Luton Town. Man United coming off of a soul-sapping loss against Copenhagen in the Champions League, a game in which they went down to 10 men despite being 2 goals up and then being pegged back to 2-2, and then somehow going 3-2 up off of a Bruno Fernandes penalty, and then going down 4-3. It has been a topsy-turvy period for Manchester United, and Erik ten Hag is only just trying to do the best he can with the tools that he's been given. It's very hard to be a Manchester United fan right now, and I really feel for them. However, this game should be the tonic that they need. Luton Town are trying their best in the league, okay? They are doing whatever they can with whatever limited resources they have. But I do think that this game should be a comfortable victory for Manchester United. I do not see why they should lose this game. But I said the same thing against Liverpool when Luton Town managed to get a draw and quite possibly could have won it. You know, the heartwarming goal by Luis Diaz at the end was a good thing, you know, for him. And the fact that football is probably the farthest thing from his mind right now, and he's able to still, you know, deliver and do a very good job for Liverpool is a heartwarming moment. But for Luton Town, that draw will give them enough confidence to think that they can take on a Manchester United squad that is not particularly strong at Old Trafford, that is not confident at all, and whose manager does not seem to have, you know, the unwavering support of most of his fan base at the moment, because there are some people calling for Ten Hag to possibly leave. Not the majority of Manchester United fans, because we know that their problems lie with the Glazers, not really with Ten Hag. Maybe it's a little bit with the squad, but they don't really blame Ten Hag for most of what has transpired at Manchester United. And, you know, it's probably 20 years in the making now. But I do predict this game to be a Manchester United victory 2-0. But there is a chance that Luton Town could surprise them. This is football, and this is why we love the Premier League, because I, for one, did not see Luton getting a point or anything against Liverpool. And despite Liverpool having all their big guns playing last week, hey, you never know. Luton Town might be able to do something. However, I still will go with a Manchester United prediction, and I will have them winning this game 2-0. Up next, we have Arsenal as they host Burnley. Now, Arsenal are coming off of a 2-0 victory against Sevilla in the Champions League, and that was preceded by a 1-0 loss to Newcastle, in which I think everybody has had their say on whether the VAR decisions were correct or were incorrect. The independent panel came out and said that Arsenal should have conceded the goal. And despite the fact that I do stick with the reasoning that it should have been a foul by Joe Linton, so I'm going to trust their judgment. I'm going to go ahead with the fact that Newcastle and the Arsenal game was a very good watch. It was a very good game. And Newcastle just, got the better end of the stick. And that's the way football goes. I'm pretty sure if Arsenal would have won that game, some of us Arsenal fans would have been like, hey, the push was minimal and whatever, because there is some kind of subjectivity and some kind of bias that goes into these games. But anyways, Arsenal host Burnley. And in this game, I am going to predict them to win 3-1. I think that Arsenal also having a very good record against Burnley overall. They've only ever lost one time in the Premier League against them. I think Arsenal, have their tails up. They have a bit of something to prove after losing that game to Newcastle. And I think that they will go in there with good confidence. They played very well against Sevilla. As usual, the only doubt that they're going to have coming into this game is going to be Bukayo Saka, because he always seems to be limping out with some type of problem. But other than that, Declan Rice is still playing well. Saliba is playing well. The back line is relatively settled. I think that Burnley are going to go and try and play their game. I just think that Arsenal are better than Burnley at playing that game. So this game should be an Arsenal victory. 3-1 is what I have this game going for. And I think that Mikel Arteta is going to have his boys revved up for this match against Burnley. Next up, Crystal Palace hosting Everton. Now, I have derided Everton a few times this season, and I don't normally pick them to win a game, but this is one that I actually do. And now watch Crystal Palace win this game. I'm going to go Everton 2-1 in this match, simply because I think Everton have actually been playing well. And their striking options right now have been bolstered by the fact that Calvert-Lewin is playing well. He's scoring goals. He's muscling people out of challenges. And Everton are doing okay. Now, the football is not the most attractive, but it is extremely effective. And that is one thing that you will always count on Sean Dyche to do. He will always give you a very effective game plan. Now, as to whether it's going to be good in the long term for Everton, one can only find out. But the thing is, the three promoted clubs, as well as Bournemouth, are really struggling. And so this is a season to which Everton should be able to try and push themselves away from that bottom three. So I have them winning this game 2-1. Crystal Palace is always a joker. For whatever reason, I just don't know how to call them. They will surprise us with games such as the one against Manchester United at Old Trafford, which in fairness, a lot of people have been winning at Old Trafford lately. But still, Crystal Palace are a team that can perform very well and at the same time can be very dour in a lot of their games. They're going to be at home in this game, and Crystal Palace don't tend to score too many goals, but they're also defensively not that bad. So Everton should be able to try and nick this one, I think, because Everton do have the force of momentum going behind them. And so let's see what goes. I have it going 2-1 to Everton. Next up, Bournemouth take on Newcastle. Newcastle are coming off of a very good result in the Premier League against Arsenal, where they managed to win 1-0, despite the controversy with the goal. But they did lose in the Champions League to Borussia Dortmund, 2-0 away. And now off of those back-to-back Champions League defeats, they are looking at the barrel of being eliminated from the Champions League, because they're now bottom, and it seems like Milan and PSG and Dortmund have taken the initiative in the group. Now they need to also try and quell a lot of the problems that are coming in from the squad. Why? Because they have a lot of injuries, and Callum Wilson also went down on Tuesday. So the question is, are Newcastle going to be able to ride the wave of their form in the league and still be able to compete in the Champions League with a very depleted squad? Now, only time will tell. But one thing is that they're going to have to start calling on some of the people who haven't played in a while. Kraft played last time, and although he did a very good job, you do not want to have the likes of Matt Ritchie coming in, because they just haven't played that much football. That is something that I think Bournemouth can be able to take advantage of, and is the reason why I think this game will end 1-1. I think Bournemouth are a side that you want to do well. They seem to have a little bit more confidence based off of the win that they had recently with Iraola. However, that was dampened by that pitiful performance against Manchester City where they lost 6-1, but Manchester City can do that to anyone. We've seen them do that to multiple teams. So for them to lay down and die was kind of par for the course. However, in this game, if they're able to take advantage of some of the injuries that are swirling around the squad, they might be able to get a draw. And as such, I have them going 1-1 against Newcastle. Next up, Aston Villa host Fulham in a game that I think Aston Villa should take 2-0. Reason being, Fulham don't score very many goals. Aston Villa are very good at home. And now watch Fulham win this game 1-0. But the thing is, Fulham are struggling to score a lot of goals now. And you thought that signing Raul Jimenez from Wolverhampton during the summer would have given them a bit more of a focal point, but it seems that the loss of Mitrovic has really affected the squad. They are not scoring a lot of goals. Meanwhile, Aston Villa won in Europe the other day, and that should give them even more confidence to take on Fulham side that are just not that good in front of goal. I have them winning this game 2-0. Not a lot can be said about Aston Villa other than their form is extremely good at home, and they should be going for a 12th consecutive home victory, I believe. And if they are able to secure this, they will keep on strengthening their ability to try and get into that top 7 and try to secure another role in Europe, and quite possibly this time move up and try and fight for the Europa League. Next up, Brighton against Sheffield United. Now, Brighton recently have not had a very good run in the Premier League. I don't think they've won in their last 5 games. So Brighton are in desperate need for a victory. Meanwhile, Sheffield United just recently got their first victory. No matter how controversial it was, a lot of these players are not going to care. They just wanted a victory on the board. What a way to try and cement your form going forward by beating Brighton and Hove Albion. I do not think that's going to be possible. I think that this is the game where Brighton will finally be able to get a victory, and I have them going 2-1 against this Sheffield United team who you can admire the team spirit and the team squad building process that they've been trying to have over the last few weeks. You can tell that Heckingbottom has been trying his best to push his players forward, but I just think that they are raw and they do not have a lot of the tools that they need in the league. Brighton should be able to exploit this. Brighton scored tons of goals, and they even managed to beat Ajax in the Europa League. So there's no reason as to why they shouldn't go into this game with enough confidence to believe that they can take down a Sheffield United squad that is not that good. So I have them winning 2-1 against Sheffield United. Next up, West Ham against Nottingham Forest. I have this game going 1-0 to West Ham. I think that West Ham, also getting a victory in the Europa League, should be able to take down a Nottingham Forest side, especially at home at the London Stadium, simply because West Ham are a better squad. Nottingham Forest do have a certain game plan that they go into a lot of these games with, and they try to stick with it. But I think that West Ham just have a better squad of players. They should be able to take down Nottingham Forest. I have this game going as a 1-0 victory to West Ham. West Ham have the likes of Paquetá, the likes of Jared Bowen, who's also been selected for the England squad again, all firing in all cylinders. Kudus has also been pretty impressive in his last few games, and I expect him to have a very good cameo in this game. And as such, I have it going 1-0 to the Hammers. And then over to Merseyside, where Liverpool will be hosting Brentford. Now, I have this game going down 3-2 to Liverpool. The reason being is because I think Liverpool are due a good performance at Anfield. They are coming off of a loss in the Europa League, where Toulouse managed to get a 3-2 victory. However, Liverpool did get a goal chalked out for a handball towards the end of the game, which could have secured them a 3-3 draw. But I don't think that that should matter too much to Liverpool. They will progress easily in the Europa League. I do think that going into a game against Brentford, they are going to be worked seriously in this game, because Brentford have now had an uptick in form. And there's no reason why Brentford should not make this game competitive. And as such, that's why I think it's going to be a 3-2 victory, because I can see goals galore in this game. There usually is goals whenever you see Brentford take on Liverpool. I can recall a 3-0 victory for Brentford last time out. I can recall a 3-1 victory for Liverpool and a 3-3 draw. So 3 is a very good number to go for in this game. And I think that Mo Salah is going to come back in. I think Cody Gakpo is going to come back in. Watch out for Luis Diaz, who is just a phenomenal player for playing with all that on his mind. I cannot imagine what he's going through. And the fact that he's able to set that aside and still do a job speaks volumes about the character that is within that player. But I do have Liverpool winning 3-2. And let's see whether Brentford can cause an upset, because I do think that somewhere down the line, I think Brentford might be able to get something from this game. But I'm still going to go with Liverpool because I do think that they're just so strong at home. And then to the game of the weekend, that's going to be Chelsea against Manchester City, a game that has seen multiple gigantic matches over the seasons. Now, in this one, Chelsea are coming off of a 4-1 victory against Tottenham, where I did say before I didn't really learn too much from Chelsea, simply because they were aided by the self-destruction that Tottenham had in the game. Going down to 9 men absolutely hindered Tottenham and made the game a lot easier for Chelsea. Now, it did take until the 74th minute for them to push ahead and get the second goal, but Chelsea are still under revival right now, and Pochettino is doing the best that he can with the squad that's in front of him. He is still trying to find his best 11 and see who might be a good understudy for some of the attacking players. The defense is still not very settled, and I think that is something that Manchester City are going to exploit. Now, a lot has been made about Manchester City and the fact that are they going to be hungry for another season, especially since they just won the treble. But I don't think a lot of people are taking into account the likes of Doku and Nunez, people who have not won a treble, and people who are coming into a squad of certified winners, and these people are going to want to prove themselves, and we've seen that from Doku recently. And so that's why I find it funny that people think that Manchester City are going to relax or they're going to play easier this season simply because they've won it all. And some of these players are bona fide winners. I mean, they've won most of the Premier League titles in the last 6 or 7 seasons. So with the exception of the Liverpool season, it's hard to see why Manchester City won't dominate this one again. Now, Doku's been playing very well. I think Nunez has a lot more to do to try and get himself into the squad, but Jack Grealish seems to be back to his best, and Phil Foden is still trying to acquire that Phil Foden is still trying to reprise that Kevin De Bruyne role of being the creator in the team. Bernardo Silva is playing very well. There's no reason as to why Manchester City won't keep pushing forward and why they won't win this game. And it is for that reason that I have them winning this game 1-0. Now, Manchester City are also very good defensively. Ruben Diaz and the rest of the guys back there seem to hold the fort down very well. Chelsea and their revival is going to be tested a lot in this game. And unless they come out of the blocks flying and do the same thing that they did against Arsenal, it's going to be very hard for them to contain Manchester City. Now, with the Arsenal game, Arsenal were kind of bewildered and they didn't expect Chelsea to come out of the blocks firing as high as they did. But in this game, I think that Manchester City are going to go in with a game plan to try and nullify Chelsea right from the start. And the easiest way Manchester City know how to do that is by holding the ball. The thing is that Arsenal, while they did have a lot of possession against Chelsea, they didn't really have their first shot on goal until Declan Rice in the 70-something minute. So Manchester City are not that side. And I think Man City will give Chelsea a torrid time at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are still rebuilding themselves, and I don't think that a loss will be the worst thing for them in this game, but they will try and at least show that they can compete with Manchester City. And as such, if they are able to go ahead, they might cause some nerves to jangle. And maybe if they hold down their defense a little bit better, they might be able to get something. However, I don't think so. So I am going to go for a 1-0 victory for Manchester City. That's all I got for this right now, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate all the support you've given me so far as I try to grow this channel. And until the games tomorrow, I will catch you then. Peace.